Good morning, dear students. I hope you all are fine. So let us continue with our very interesting lesson, that is cell, the structure and functions of it. So we had learned about the cell membrane or plasma membrane and cytoplasm. And what is the third important component of the cell or the basic component of the cell? Yes, that is the nucleus. So let us learn about nucleus. Here you can see the whole diagram which is shown over here. It is of a nucleus. So that is very important component of the cell. It is like a brain, how the brain is for our body, in the same way is the nucleus for a cell. How is it? It is generally spherical, and yes, it is mostly located at the center of the cell. And as I have told you, we have to we have to take a drop, 1 or 2 drops of the dye or the stain, and hence we can observe the nucleus very clearly under the microscope, of course. So if we see the nucleus, that is separated from the cytoplasm with the help of a nuclear membrane, like we have seen the plasma membrane, okay, and then the cytoplasm, and inside there is nucleus. So there is again some components inside the nucleus, so we have to separate that component from the rest of the cytoplasm. So nucleus, which is round shape, it also has a membrane over it. That membrane is called as the nuclear membrane, okay, as it surrounds the nucleus, so it is called as the nuclear membrane. And the membrane which surrounds the cell, that is the cell membrane or plasma membrane. So there is no need of any confusion, okay. So this is the nuclear membrane. And also this nuclear membrane, like that of the plasma membrane, that is also porous, and it allows the movement of certain substances within the membrane, because there are certain substances which needs to pass inside the nucleus and some substances which needs to be passed out of the nucleus. So the nuclear membrane also is porous, and it allows the movement of certain substances inward and outward, okay, through it. So yes, with the microscope, again with a higher magnification microscope which has higher magnification, we can observe something inside the nucleus again. So what do we observe? We can observe a smaller spherical body again inside the nucleus. This diagram is of nucleus, and if you can see the nuclear membrane, and there is again a smaller spherical body inside the nucleus, that is called as the nucleolus. What is it called? The nucleolus. The rounded body inside the nucleus is called as the nucleolus. And also you can see this thread-like structure inside the nucleus. Those thread-like structures are called as the chromosomes. What are those thread-like structures called? They are the chromosomes in the nucleus. You see, these chromosomes are very important because these chromosomes, they contains genes in them. These chromosomes, they have genes inside them, and you must have heard about the genes, and these genes, they help to pass the characters from parent to the offspring. And these chromosomes we can see only when the cell is dividing. Yes, the cell divides, one cell splits into two, again those will divide, and hence we see the cell multiplies, they divide, and hence an organism is formed, okay. So when the cell divide, that time we can see this chromosomes, because they become thread like at that time. Now, and as I said, there is genes present in this chromosome. Now what are these genes? So let us study a bit about it. So gene, it is called as the unit of inheritance in living organisms. Now what is inheritance? It possesses the, we can say, a coding. It possesses a code, okay, and the code will be transferred from parents to the offspring. And what code is transferred to the offspring, according to that will be the characteristics of that organism. Say for example, your mother has curly hair, or if father or mother, any one of them, if they have brown eyes or colored eyes, so any one of the offspring will have colored eyes, yes. Or the hairs, your hair resembles to your parents, one of the parents, your face resembles to your parents. This is what inheritance. The characters are passed from one generation to other, or from parent to the offspring, and this is all possible only because of the genes. and yes, there are various combinations of genes may occur, and that will give various characteristics into the offspring. So, and this is all present in nucleus. So see, nucleus is very important part of a cell. Okay, so okay, in addition to passing this characteristics from parent to offspring, nucleus also has a very important role to perform, and actually the nucleus acts as a control center of activities of cell. What activities are going on in the cell are all controlled by a nucleus, hence nucleus is called as the control center of the activities of the cell. Okay, and if we see this entire content of this living cell, that means it includes the cytoplasm and the nucleus. Inside the nuclear membrane you find the cytoplasm and the rounded shaped nucleus. This together is called as the protoplasm. Cytoplasm and nucleus together are called as the protoplasm. Okay, so protoplasm means cytoplasm and nucleus. So I hope you are getting these points and the concepts are clear to you, and there is no confusion in the words at all. Okay, so now based on this prokaryote, as we have seen the protoplasm, so based on this protoplasm we have categorized organisms into two types, that is prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Now let us see what are prokaryotes. So those cells, the animals or the organisms which have the cells which have nuclear material, all the nuclear material they have, like we have seen what is present in the nucleus, the chromosomes are present, what we can say, the nucleolus is present and all that. So, and also this is all enclosed in a nuclear membrane. So those cells which do not have this nuclear membrane, the membrane, it is not separated, all the components, yes, of course chromosomes will be there, nucleolus will be there, but the membrane will not be there which separates the cytoplasm, right, this nuclear membrane which separates the cytoplasm and nucleus. If that nuclear membrane is absent, then that cell is called as prokaryotic cell, and the animal or the organism which has this kind of cell are called as the prokaryotes. The cell is prokaryotic cell, and that organism possessing that cell is called as the prokaryote. Okay, the examples are mostly the bacteria and blue-green algae. If you observe the nucleus of bacteria, that is not well organized, that is not so well organized, it is organized we have seen in the diagram. So that is not that well organized, yes, there is no nuclear membrane. So this is called as the prokaryotes. Then what is eukaryotes? The opposite of that, the cells, like we have seen the onion cell, it was having a proper nucleus, we could see a rounded shaped nucleus, right, and also in the chick cell we could see the cell which we had taken from the chicken and activity. So that chick cell was also having a proper well defined nucleus, as you could see if you remember. So those cells which have proper nuclear membrane are called eukaryotic cells, and the organism which possess eukaryotic cell are called as the eukaryotes. So all the organisms other than the bacteria and blue-green algae, because they are prokaryotes, all the organisms other than this are the eukaryotes. Even we are eukaryotes because our cells have a well-defined nucleus with a well-defined nuclear membrane. So we all are eukaryotes. Okay, so prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Now if we compare a plant cell and animal cell, we have seen few of them. Okay, now you can see, or in any of the cell if you see, we can see a big space. Can you see it in the first, the white one, the plant cell? A big what we can say, space, empty space is present. And also in the animal cell, you can see small, few small spaces, empty spaces. What are those empty spaces called? They are called as the vacuole. Where are they present? In the cytoplasm. We can see some empty spaces, some blank looking structures. Those are called as the vacuoles, which are present in the cytoplasm area. Okay, and you can see this vacuole can be single or they can be many. Yes, there is difference. If that is a plant cell, it will have one big vacuole. And if it is an animal cell, it will have many vacuole but which will be smaller in size. So that is the difference in plant cell and animal cell. Okay, you can just note down the difference and just remember it, the difference between plant and animal cell. Then in the cytoplasm or in the cell, you can also see some more components present in it, like have you seen some colored bodies on the leaves of some plants? Like here is an example of the Tradescantia leaf. In that you can see the colored part on that leaf. Yes, so that color is because of this is a kind of component which is called as the plastid. What is it? It is a plastids. Mostly plastids are the colored components. Plastids are variously colored. Some plants will have different colored plastics, some plants will have different colored plastids. So these plastids are the colored components which are present in the cell, and they give color to that part wherever they are present. So there are different colors as I said, and some of them they contain green pigment that is called as the chlorophyll. Yes, you have heard about the chlorophyll. So chlorophyll, if it contains green colored pigment, that green colored pigment is called as the chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll is present in the chloroplast. There is chloroplast, and in that chloroplast you would see a chlorophyll, which is a green color pigment, and this green colored pigment only gives the green color to leaves. We have learnt that. And some leaves may have, some plants may have different colored plastids, so that will give different color to leaves. You must have seen various colored leaves, yes, as this is shown in the diagram. So you must have seen various colored leaves. So why do they have color? The color is because of plastid, and that plastid has that specific color, hence you see that color of that leaf. So I hope you have understood about the plastid. They are variously colored, and that only gives color to the plant or the leaves. Okay, so we have seen a few basic components of the cell, of course, of both cell, plant and animal cell. But despite of the basic components, like we have seen plasma membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, which will be present in plant cell or animal cell, all of them. But there are, in spite of the basic structures, there are certain differences. As we have seen about the cell wall, yes, if you remember, the cell wall, which is, you can see it in the diagram. The first diagram is of plant cell and the other one is of animal cell. You can see the plant cell, that is double layered. Why is it double layered? The inner layer is plasma membrane, which is the same present in plant. Animal cell also, only plasma membrane. In plant cell, outside of plasma membrane there is another extra layer that is called as the cell wall. This is the first difference. And the second difference, you can see the vacuole. Yes, in the plant cell you can see a very big vacuole, while in the animal cell you see many small vacuoles, right? Then you can see about the some other things like chloroplast or the plastids which are present in the plant cell. Do we have various colors? That is because of melanin. That is different part. You leave about that. But the plants, they have plastids. Animal cell do not have plastids. So let us just tabulate all these differences and let's see what a plant cell has and what an animal cell has. So the plant cells have plastids, the colored plastids like a chloroplast. Animal cells do not have plastids. We are talking about the cell. Okay. Then plant cell, they have a cell wall, yes, in addition to plasma membrane, while animal cells do not have cell wall, that we have seen. Then plant cell, they have large central vacuole which is present in the center, and they are very large vacuole, while in the animal cell they have smaller and temporary vacuole. If like it is not necessary that there will be vacuoles. In some animal cells there might be vacuole, in some animal cell there may not be vacuole, so it is not compulsory to have, but in plant cell the vacuoles will be present and that will be big. Okay, that will be large. Then in the plant they have the plasmodesmata. Okay, this we have not learned, so we would just leave this thing. Then there are some other substances, or we can see some other components like centriole, and so many things are there. So, and we can see about the shape. Generally the plant cells, they are fixed, the last point, as the middle one we don't have to concern with that. Okay, So generally the plant, they have fixed and regular shape. Okay, the cells have fixed and regular shape, while in the animal they generally have an amorphous shape. Okay, so the shape may vary depending on the cell. So this is all about the plant cell and the animal cell, various components of them, and the structure and functions of the cell. And also we have seen the difference in the plant cell and an animal cell. I hope you all have understood this lesson. So just the thing is, revise the lesson again and again. It will be fixed in your mind. And take care, be safe, and stay healthy. Goodbye.